Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Top Leaders. I am Jen Anderson, and I am on a mission to help you become the tech leader that everyone wants to work for. And as such, it is so fun for me today to have a wonderful client on, Jared Phifer. Thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. Love to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So it's been really awesome to see Jared identify and determine his personal brand and to now leverage it. So I said, Jared, let's have you on the show because I think this is a great opportunity to really show people what a tech leader does once you know your personal brand. So I'm excited to jump into that. So before we go there, I'm going to share with you a little bit about Jared's bio and then we'll delve in. So Jared Phifer is a technical leader that has spent 20 years in software development and engineering. During that time, he has had many different roles and responsibilities that cover the spectrum. More recently, he has found a passion in helping teams achieve high levels of performance and success by providing them with opportunities and giving them the tools to be a champion of their domain, then get out of their way. Jared loves building development teams that share a common goal and have a culture of collaboration, accountability, responsibility, and high energy. In doing so, Jared challenges folks to stretch out of their comfort zone to achieve new heights while still giving them the sense of safety they need to be confident in what they're doing. Jared leverages his personal brand as a way to support them in their endeavors and assure them that they have someone by their side on their journey and will cover their six when needed. So that's our friend Jared today. So rapid fire questions. Here we go. First of all, salty or sweet?
Depends on the mood. I'll say sweet.
Sweet. Okay. Me, I'll be like both. All right. Favorite book today?
Favorite book today. Wow, that's a tough one. So I'm reading right now, fictional, The Expanse. One of my favorite nonfiction books would be Start With Why.
Okay. And then if you could travel to one place right this second, where do you want to go?
The Caribbean.
Caribbean.
Backup plan, Ireland.
Okay, nice. I love it. So, Jared, what's your personal brand?
My personal brand is I've got your six. It's something that we discovered together, and I didn't realize how much I was actually using that phrase when I would talk to my team, to my direct reports, to my family, and even my friends. It's one of those things that, to me, it's all about how I can support you as an individual in what you're doing and do it in a way that, like mentioned in the bio, gives you that sense of comfort and support. You know, I've got your back. You know that I'm going to be there to help you along the way. And at the same time, I gain a high level of satisfaction and gratitude in doing so, such that it actually, it's just ingrained in who I am.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm a high energy guy. That's why I like to build teams with high energy.
Wow.
Because I think that level of passion comes out in the final work product. So be passionate about what you do.
Yeah, I love that. It's so good. So, so some people might be like, wait, okay, got my back, got your six. What does that mean? So take us a second, just kind of explain where that is.
Sure. Yeah. So it's actually a term that's used quite heavily, I'll say, in team structures that are life and death. You're talking about military, you talk about police, and it's that idea and that notion that you have to have a high level of trust on the individual who has your back. As you go into a situation, you go into a room where you don't know what might be in there, or you're in the Air Force, they use it a lot as your wingman has got your six. They're covering your backside so that you can do or achieve the goals and tasks that you're set out to do. So being in a leadership role that, is somebody that is not a frontline engineer, is not a frontline manager, it fits me quite well in the sense that I'm not going to be that person that's going to be in the weeds, going to be that one that's on the front lines, but I'm going to be right behind you, and I'm going to make sure that somebody doesn't come up behind you and knock you out or to, throw you off. I'm going to support you. I'm going to deflect what needs to be deflected. I'm going to help guide you and give you that level of safety and trust that you need to be able to be successful in what you're doing.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of all of that. And in my personal life, I have friends, family members who are military, police, things like that. And so like the person who's literally has got their back, has got their six, like that's a difference of literally, like you said before, life or death. Like, are we coming out of this thing?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And have success for, all parties involved. Right. And so it gives me chills up my back. I'm not going to lie. It's just like, oh my gosh, because you're there, you're supporting them. So now that that's your brand statement, right? I got your six. What does that mean to you now that has been determined for you?
What does it mean? It just reemphasizes what I'm already doing and gives it something that I can say to people, and hopefully they understand right away what I mean and what I represent. Since I've discovered that, I found in many one-on-one situations where we're talking about a situation or a scenario and talking about what are the next steps, what is the next thing that person wants to do in their career and the work that they're doing or whatever. And I'll challenge them. I challenge you to try this, or why don't you do that, or right, let's go together and figure this thing out. And I want you to know that even though I'm going to put you out in a situation that you might be a little uncomfortable, I'm right there with you. I'm there. I've got your six, and I've said that now multiple times, and it's just kind of a reassuring thing that I can say to somebody and let them know that that's really what I live for. That's what I'm all about.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I love that. So let's talk about some examples then of now you've got this determined, right? So how are you literally leveraging this personal brand? Give some examples that come into life.
So let's see, I guess it was, a couple of days ago, I had a one-on-one, and I was talking with an individual who is very introverted, and she's somebody that doesn't like to come out of her shell very much. She loves the team that she works with, but she's a little afraid sometimes to speak out or to express her opinions. We had a very constructive conversation, and we talked specifically about seizing the opportunities to be a part of that team. She's already earned the respect of her team. She does great work, so there's no reason why she can't do that. And I reassured her that your team, we are family. You're a part of that family, and there's a trust level that's involved with that. It's a safe place. But if ever you feel like, hey, I don't know if I should say this or not, know that you can always come to me. We can talk about that, and I'm going to support you. And even if it means that we go into the room together and I'm right there beside you, you'll have an opportunity to say whatever it is you need to say, or engage in a way that you feel like you're contributing to the team. And however I can help facilitate that, I am a resource for you. Make sure that you're leveraging me in a way that you feel comfortable and confident, and at the same time know that I'm right there beside you. I'm going to support you. I got your back covered.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
So that's one.
So how did you respond to that then? So you're this private one-on-one conversation with her, right? What was her response to that?
It was interesting because I could tell like she was a little nervous sitting in the room with me just one-on-one and having that conversation. And as we were able to talk about that in that regard and say, look, this is safe, this is a safe area. I want you to be able to trust me and know that anything you say, I got your back. I've got your six. You're covered. She actually kind of relaxed. She stopped having kind of some of those nervous fidgets, and
Mhm.
she even said, she says, that makes me feel a lot better.
Hmm.
So it was actually a pretty positive experience.
Totally. And then seeing that shift in her, what did that do for you as her boss then?
It to me that I felt like, okay, I've kind of I've struck a chord. I've done something to influence and impact her in a way that hopefully will be very positive. And then I'll be right there beside her. Let's go see her take action and jump into it.
Cool.
That's the satisfaction I get out of it. That's
Yeah.
where I live. That's what I want to be.
That's awesome. I feel like I need to have you back on in like 6 months. Like, okay, now tell us how is she doing, right?
Huh?
To have that time to see, like, is she going to step into that space of letting you do that for her? Because then that's
Yeah,
going to her grow.
exactly, exactly. That's what I hope, right? That's part of being, in my opinion, that's part of being a good leader. It's also being a mentor, a coach. I do those kinds of things as well. I coach youth hockey, have for years, and that's something that I even incorporate in that world too. And I encourage my team to experiment out on the ice and try new things, be creative, and know that I've got your back. If you make a mistake, it's okay. I got your six. It's fine. Go out there and make the mistake. That's how you learn. That's how you develop. That's how you grow.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's a great another example. I was curious how it's showing up in your personal life. So there you are, these
Yep.
kids out on the ice, like get after it, guys. Let's go for it, right? I love that.
Get out of your comfort zone and know that because you're out of your comfort zone, you need somebody there to support you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm there.
That's awesome. Have you heard anybody say your personal brand to you?
No,
Okay.
not yet.
Okay.
It's interesting though. I recently received a T-shirt from my direct manager. It says he put a little sticky note on it that was on my desk, and it says for your brand. And it's a purple T-shirt. It says it's got two stick figures on it. It says I got your back. And the guy was holding onto the stick of the other guy. It's pretty awesome. So he's kind of a jokester. I love my boss. He's awesome. But he likes to joke around with things like that. But we've had good conversations about my brand and how I really approach things. And he couldn't agree more. At least from his feedback to me is that he feels like, yep, that's definitely you. And so that's why he can kind of do those fun things and have fun with it.
Yeah, that's perfect. Because I was just about to ask, what are you seeing around your brand and people's perceiving it from people who are above you in the org chart, right? So that's a great example. He's seeing it. In fact, he's even getting you the shirt. That is awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, I do. I love that so much. So you've been in tech for a minute, right? 20 years. You've been around, just saying some things. And so now, keeping in context your personal brand of Got Your Six, what are you most worried about when you look at tech and the tech, think of tech teams, the tech community and whatnot? What are you worried about?
That's a good question. To me, I mean, the tech industry is interesting. There's kind of I'll call it if you want to call it a bad stereotype or whatever. There's kind of a stigma that most tech folks don't stay in the same job for a long time. They usually jump from job to job for a various number of reasons, whether it be money or skill interests or whatever. There's a lot of reasons, and as such, really the tech industry in of itself too has a lot of turnover. I'll call it even company turnover. So there's always that concern about somebody feeling like they can be part of a team and be able to commit to something and move and stay there for a longer period of time or develop that loyalty and trust. If you are in a place where there's a lot of attrition and turnover, it makes it tough to build a culture. It makes it difficult to find people that work well together and can stay together for a long time, because that really helps kind of develop that family idea, that family culture. That I've been fortunate, especially in my current role with this company, and even as a manager before I became a director. It was I didn't have a lot of that turnover, and maybe that's a reflection of the team and how we kind of all worked and collaborated together, that we were able to build that trust, and so it becomes a priority for them in their life, without actually asking every individual on the team that specific question. I can only speculate, but that, to me, that's kind of an indication that you have a healthy team that is doing really great stuff. Is if they want to be there, they want to be a part of that team. They don't want to be doing anything else, and that's a reflection of the team working together. And then ultimately, it is the leaders that are on those teams that help drive that culture too. So,
yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that you're shining a light in our conversation around turnover and how that is affecting building culture, right? But the culture creates that ecosystem for great things to happen. Right.
Yep.
So it's just the whole domino effect.
Yep. Yeah. You can build a culture, you can build a program, and you can have a lot of success in that, even if you have to interchange individuals. But it'll never be the same as if you've got a group of people that have the same kind of goals and mindsets, and it's been established by that culture. They buy into the culture. They're all in on what that looks like from a just an overall team dynamic, or an R&D dynamic, or even a company dynamic, right? That it goes all the way through as far as the vision, and then be able to execute on the tasks and the work that needs to be done, because they'll develop a sense of ownership. They'll become passionate about it. They'll share in that passion and that ownership to the extent that it makes that team whole. And when somebody's not there, it doesn't feel whole. There's something that's missing. And then you might have a team that is is kind of picky about who they bring into their circle when it comes around. Yes. That's not unusual. But if you have a very welcoming place and it's safe, people have an opportunity to grow. They have an opportunity to develop their careers, their personal lives, have a good balance, trust in one another, so that there's a way, you can kind of step away from work when you need to, and know that the work is still going to be done. All of those things go into, what I feel like is a healthy culture for a team or for an organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the whole thing around being picky about who we're letting on the team here, because I do so much work with technology groups, and you guys have got some opinions about things.
Yeah. I've actually found, from a hiring perspective, that sometimes skill is not the most important thing. With a team, it's attitude and aptitude more than anything else. I look for folks that are humble and hungry to learn, hungry to grow, and want to collaborate. Those are some of the intangible, the soft skills that make up somebody that would ultimately be probably a high performer. Because I can teach you the skill, I can teach you how to code. What I can't teach you how to do is be a good teammate, or be able to trust in others on your team. That has to be something that you have innately in yourself, at least to some degree, right? So that's humble and hungry, attitude and aptitude. You got to be technical to some degree. If you're going to be a software engineer, you better have some technical skills. But it doesn't mean necessarily that I'm going to go take the person that has 10 years of coding experience and has jumped from job to job to job to job, meaning that they don't really stay on a team to really build a lot of that team dynamic or build some of that sense of culture. Or when I ask questions, they don't kind of come across as somebody who might be somebody that we want on the team, versus I've got somebody who's only got a few years of development experience, and they have they have the desire to grow and learn, and they want to learn from others on the team, and they want to be a part. They want to take a role on that team and be successful. And hey, I'll learn. Give me whatever I need to learn, and I'll learn it. If that's their attitude and their mindset, I'm more willing to take a chance on somebody like that versus just somebody who appears to be a rock star from a coding perspective or development perspective.
Totally. I want to put that in context of your brand of I got your six, and it's a lot easier for you then to also support them, right? Because that person family is a good human being, right? You're wanting to support versus it's like I'm constantly having to placate this prima donna, kind of a thing. I can see there.
And it's not to say that you're a coder and you're really, really good at being a coder that you're a prima donna. I don't want to say that, but at the same time, egos might be what they are. But you talk about emotional intelligence, which really kind of comes back to being humble and knowing that you don't know everything, being willing to accept the fact you don't know everything, but being willing to grow and learn, keeping an outward mindset. Those are all things that make a successful employee, regardless of what role they happen to be in.
Yeah, I love that for sure. As you're talking, I keep thinking about this whole concept of having compassion in the workplace for each other, right? And so I want to talk with you a little bit. So first of all, if you were to define compassion in the workplace, how would you define that?
It's empathy, it's understanding, it's at the same time being responsible. I mean, there's a part of it that is to that. I mean, knowing what you're capable of, what your teammates are capable of, challenging each other, that's part of that, but then also supporting each other when we go into those challenges, and whether it's me or it's, another manager or it's a frontline employee doing the coding or doing the testing, anybody can raise their hand and rally the team around them. And that is part of that equation of compassion. Being passionate about the work, passionate about your teammates, and that sense of family, and knowing that, hey, if something happens to somebody, we're going to be there, regardless of what it is. Somebody makes a mistake, hey, that's okay. That's part of learning. That means we don't do it that way. We just try it some way else, right? And we can try and fail 100 times, and at the end of the day, every single one of those was a learning opportunity. So that's where I kind of describe or I would define compassion.
Yeah, I love that. I was thinking, because I wanted you to share an example maybe of how you're seeing your team being compassionate with each other, but you just kind of gave a little bit of example of, oh, they messed up. It's not the end of the world. It's okay. Let's learn from it. But can you think of another example where you've seen truly what you would say that is compassion? I've seen it. Can you think of one to share?
Well, so yeah, I think it depends on the situation. I've had teammates that have stepped up and said, hey, I noticed so and so is really struggling. And in fact, we had somebody on our leadership group that got into kind of a rough place, with family and personal, and had to step away from work for a while. And we all understood, right? It was like at that point in time, that person needed to not worry about the house at work. They didn't need to worry about the office. We were going to take care of it. And when I say we, I'm talking about the leadership group. And that still plays into my brand too, because it's like, you need to go do it. And I do this even with my direct report manager. When he's got something happening and he needs to go take care of family, go do it, man. I got you covered. You go. It's that same kind of mindset. And that's where, it's that trust and compassionate side of the team, the family. I can be there. You want me to be a sounding board? I'm here. I can be a sounding board for you. You need somebody that can get into the weeds with you and help you troubleshoot something? I'm here. I can help you do that. Or if I have no idea what I'm doing, that's fine. I'll find somebody and we'll bring them in together and we'll have that conversation together.
Yeah.
one of those things. But yeah, that, the example with our leadership team, that happened, and ultimately that person had to say they weren't going to work for a couple of years, and so we've had to make adjustments, and we were very sad to see that happen. But that's our family dynamic. That's our culture that we have, and
Yeah.
we'll make do,
Yep.
even though they won't be around.
Right. Absolutely. There is so much happening in corporate teams with boomerangs, right? Where people are leaving, they think they can get a better offer somewhere else, or, they go somewhere, they think it's going to be something really fancy, and then they go, never mind. That is not what I was hoping for. And then coming back, and there can be that little bit of kind of like the wounded, like the puppy cowering with its tail between its legs. It's like, I'm sorry, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's creating that space, right? For, and it's interesting how we can kind of come back and forth. But it'll be curious to see what happens with that person when they do decide to come back.
Yeah. And I know our group did what we could with our company to leave that door open, right? Mm-hmm. So when they have their stuff at home and their family in order, and they feel like they can come back to try to manage a work-life balance, and they want to join us back up, that's great. That door's open. When we get a position, we'll bring them back on. And so that's another thing, right? I mean, that's a testament to the work that they were doing before, and the value of that. And then ultimately, that compassionate side of the business, of the team, of the culture, to say, hey, we care about you. Even if you can't be here, we still care.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I love that. That's a really good example, actually, of your brand. Got your 6, right? Like, it's okay, because it doesn't always have to be a final thing when somebody leaves a team, or, whatever the situation is. Even if that person left to go take another job full-time somewhere else, right? There's still that opportunity to keep that connection.
Yep, absolutely. Once you're in my circle, you're in my circle. Mm-hmm. And I truly believe that. So those that I've worked with that have moved on to other things, if they need me for something, I'm here. They know where to find me, and occasionally I might check in and say hi. But even if we don't have that constant connection, they can come back to me any point in time, and mm-hmm. I'll help them with whatever they need. If it's a reference, if it's a sounding board, if it's whatever, that's just part of who I am. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Well, it makes sense. You're invested in them, Jared, right? Like,
exactly.
You're saying, hey,
exactly.
We've
exactly.
got this, unless they do something otherwise to make it where you're like, hey, we're good. Thanks.
Even then, I would probably be like, how can I help?
Nice. Yeah.
It's like, maybe I need to be the one with the tough love. It's like, do you realize what you're doing? And I can be that guy too, if need be, right? It's sometimes those kinds of tough, candid conversations is exactly what somebody who's going down the wrong road needs.
Yeah.
So,
right. Absolutely. Just stop, right? Just stop for a second, see what's going on, right? And that's actually a great example of compassion too, because sometimes nobody else is in their life willing to step up and say, hold on, time out. This may not be the best idea, right? Now, granted, obviously, people can make their own decisions and all those things, but yeah, that's a good example.
Yep, absolutely.
I love it. So good. Oh my goodness. So Jared, as we're wrapping this up today, what would you like to share with people about having a personal brand and what that's doing for you now as a leader?
Having a personal brand gives you a way to more easily describe yourself to somebody that maybe you don't know. That's one thing, right? For me, if I go into a room with a bunch of people and we're starting to collaborate or discuss or work on something together for the first time, when I start talking about, let me know what I can do to help. Hey, I noticed you need this kind of thing going. I can help with that, whatever. At the end of the day, if everybody in the room knows that my brand is I've got your 6, then they know that what I'm going to do to help support that team or help support that group or help support that situation. I'm going to be that one that's deflecting on the backside and trying to, give that support and the pat on the back and the hand on the shoulder and let them know I'm here. I got you covered. So that's what I can do to leverage my brand in a way moving forward. It's given me that extra level of identity. And like you and I have talked about, it wasn't a massive change from what I was doing. I was already doing those things. And all it's really done is given me a way to describe it more effectively to others who might wonder, how does Jared tick, or why is he doing it that way?
Yeah.
Right. And so that's where the brand really comes in. Even go and logify it, make yourself a logo. I did that. I have a sticker, those kind of things so that people know who I am. Right. And we'll see where that takes it. But that's kind of the big thing for me, and what I do to leverage the brand.
I love it. I love the clarity that it's bringing you, right? So you can narrow down, say, this is what it is, right? But then look at all the different ways you're talking about how you're leveraging it, though. It's not just helping you just with a recent person joining your team, right? We're talking about all these scenarios in business and in personal. That's awesome.
Yep.
I love that. I love it. I love it. Makes my coach heart so happy. It's so good. So good. Awesome. Jared, what's one place that we can find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn I think it's Jared Phifer, all one word. Okay. So you can find me there and definitely connect. I'm happy to make connections, and if you have any feedback or thoughts, I'd love to hear them. I'm definitely one who loves constructive feedback. So share your thoughts.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. Jared, thank you so much for joining me on today's Top Leaders.
My pleasure.